More than 99% of the people dying from COVID right now are unvaccinated.
Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but when I've always thought about vaccines, and I always think about just nature and the way everything works. And I feel like a vaccination in a weird way is just generally kind of going against nature. Like, I mean, if there's some disease out there, maybe there's just an ebb and flow to life where something's supposed to wipe out a certain amount of people, and that's just kind of the way evolution goes. Vaccines kind of stand in the way of that.
607,771 Americans have died of coronavirus. 99% of the people dying right now are unvaccinated.
So maybe it doesn't work and they're simply not telling you that. Well, you hate to think that, especially if you've gotten 2 shots. But what's the other potential explanation?
In Los Angeles, where cases are up right now, none of the hospitals has admitted a single COVID patient who was fully vaccinated. The director says, quote, "At this point, this really is a preventable illness, a preventable infection."
This truly is the optional portion of the pandemic. To underscore that point, the Biden administration is sending people to communities to educate those who are misinformed or maybe skeptical of the vaccine. They're not showing up to force needles.
The Biden administration is about to take their pressure campaign to your doorstep. Now, Republican officials are already pushing back, and this is great. Missouri's Governor Mike Parson politely told the feds to take their vaccine evangelization elsewhere.
Don't come knocking on my door with your Fauci outie. You leave us the hell alone.
And now they're starting to talk about going door to door to be able to take vaccines to the people. Think about what those mechanisms could be used for. They could then go door to door, take your guns. They can go door to door, take your Bibles.
They're going to knock on your door. They're going to demand that you take it, and they're going to give you a 3rd shot.
When it comes to medical privacy, they've become like the Taliban, which is a real problem.
The focus of this administration on vaccination is mind-boggling.
Again, 607,771 Americans have died of the virus, and 99% of the people dying right now are unvaccinated.
At Turning Point USA, we are going to give it everything we have to make sure that students are not going to have to live in a medical apartheid because they don't want to get the vaccine. This is a big statement, but it's almost this apartheid-style open-air hostage situation, like, oh, you can have your freedom back if you get the jab.
It is just undeniable that being vaccinated will open up freedoms to work, to play, to accelerate the economy, and quite frankly, to keep breathing.
Overall, the equation is very unfavorable for vaccination of anyone below age 30. Unless we really have a compelling case, no one under age 30 should receive any one of these vaccines.
In Miami, the hospital system is seeing a surge. They are seeing a surge in COVID cases among people in their 30s and 40s, twice as many patients this past weekend than they had earlier in the month.
And then in Tennessee, the Republican-led state just fired its vaccination chief over what she says were efforts to get teens vaccinated. And now, because of politics, the state is scrapping all outreach to children for any vaccine, not just for COVID, for all diseases.
I cannot believe that we are on the verge, against all science, of mandating vaccines for children, that we are on the verge of East German style. Show me your papers.
There are so many good flight attendants out there, but there are some flight attendants out there that take their job as the mask police to extremes, becoming almost Nazis of the air.
Millions of Americans are seeing this nonsensical, non-scientific propaganda instead of this.
$607,771 Americans have died of the coronavirus. 99% of the people dying right now are unvaccinated.
Children are dying in other countries that don't have access to vaccines of any kind. Many of the Americans who died last year would not have died with the vaccine currently available right now for free. 607,771 Americans dead. Some, many, maybe even most of whom would be alive today if the vaccine had been there in time for them.
And when history asks how so many Americans died when they could have been saved by a simple shot or two, you'll see these TV clips again that we've just shown in documentaries about the cautionary tale that has been America's response to the coronavirus pandemic, about how a large part of our country, misled by information often echoed by elected officials and right-wing media, was thrown a life raft and instead said, no, I'll take my chances.